Hi, everybody. My name is Juliana Pereira, and I'm currently pursuing my PhD in geotechnical engineering at Purdue University here in the United States. I already earned a bachelor degree and a master's degree in civil engineering, and you might recognize me from our previous session that is the title, Why the US is a Top Destination to Pursue a STEM Degree. We'll put the link in the chat so you can go watch it after this, okay? And today, I'm happy that you could join us for this topic, the power of English proficiency with Marifer's success at the university and beyond in the United States. Thank you so much, Marifer, for being here. And for those of you who are just joining us, I wanted to once again introduce myself. As I mentioned before, my name is Juliana Pereira, and I'll be moderating today's session. We'll just take a few moments before we begin so that more people can join us. But while we wait, I would like to know in the comments for those who are planning to study abroad, who are currently preparing to do so. What steps are you taking to improve your English proficiency and before embarking on your journey to study in the US? As you might know, today's session features the latest episode of our popular series, My Dream, My Destination, alongside our partner TOEFL. You can check our previous episodes by visiting Study in the USA and TOEFL on Facebook. Today, we have the pleasure of interviewing Maria Fernanda Sagastumi. I hope I pronounced that properly. Also known as Marifer, who will share her inspiring journey of academic success and personal growth in the United States. Originally from Panama City, Panama, Marifer's curiosity for different cultures and her passion for learning new languages, specifically English and French, led her to explore opportunities beyond her homeland. At the age of 18, she moved to Florida to pursue a degree in biomedical engineering. Yes, another woman engineer. And starting an exciting adventure in her life. Now, at the age of 27, Marifer has 2 degrees and is pursuing her PhD in human-centered design. She earned her bachelor's and master's degree in biomedical engineering and STEM education and an MBA by taking advantage of the 4+1 program. She earned her bachelor's and master's degree in just 5 years. Her determination and dedication onto her academic pursuits have been driving force behind her accomplishments. Through her journey, Marifer has thrived the international academic community and has become a role model to those seeking to pursue her dreams beyond their home country. We're excited to learn more about your experience and insights during this session. Thank you so much, Marifer, for being here. But before we get into that, I'd like to mention that Study in the US will provide one special winner with a $50 Visa gift card. To qualify, go ahead and tag your friends in the comment section below, and we will announce the winner shortly after this session. Stay tuned for a Q&A at the end of the session and place any questions that you'd like to answer in the chat. Either our guest or one of the TOEFL moderators overseeing this chat will answer them shortly. With that said, Marifer, thank you so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you can share, like some good memories of your childhood, and how those memories shape your aspirations to study abroad.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Juliana, and welcome everyone. My name is Maria Fernanda, but I go by Marifer. And like Juliana mentioned, I was born in Panama City, Panama. And since a very young age, I was able to travel. Actually, when I was young, I lived in Mexico and Guatemala as well. And that really helped me kind of like go into a different environment. I went to a elementary school that was different than mine, but then came back to my hometown in Panama. But I had that little exposure of getting out of my home country and meeting new people, and the amount of diversity and cultures that I was able to experience really shaped me also in my career till this day. I also remember also being very involved in my school, in activities outside of the school, and doing theater, for example, learning new languages, going a little bit outside of my my classes, and I took French classes besides the ones that I took in school. So always trying to improve in different areas. I also did a lot of debate, and that by joining debate clubs and doing these things, I got an exposure to international committees where I represented a different country, and I was able to get that experience sharing my point of view by representing a country. So I think those are really good memories that I have from my childhood. And then the new ones that I made when I came to the United States, to Florida, have, just helped me so much and grow so much to this day.
Awesome. Well, for those of you, if you missed the beginning, Marifer moved to Florida when she was just 18 to pursue her degree in biomedical engineering, and now at the age of 27, she has 2 degrees and is pursuing her PhD in human-centered design. Marifer, what inspired you to pursue your dreams and to take a leap to move to Florida to study biomedical engineering?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I originally I was in my home country in Panama studying for medical school. So I started a first semester in medical school, but at the same time I was applying and looking for opportunities to study abroad. But I knew that for medical school it required many more years, and it was harder to get a scholarship, right away, because you first need to do pre-med, then you need to go into med school. So I started looking for other programs that were still relating to healthcare, but also incorporating some engineering and new technologies. And that's how I found biomedical engineering at the university, Florida Tech University. And I had a friend from Panama that was studying already in that university that could give me some insights about how it was like to study there. And then I looked for scholarships, all of that while I was in Panama. I was looking at, how to apply to schools. I actually applied to 2 more schools. Purdue University was one of them. Juliana is there now. So but then when it came to narrow down to the school, I really looked for something that was warm weather, a place where it was close to the beach and still nice and warm. So that's why I'm in Florida. But yeah, that entire process that I was doing when I was in my last 2 years of high school, those were crucial to, taking me to where I am now. Because that's when I started looking at, where I want to go. I asked for a lot of assistance from my professors and mentors. And I started preparing myself for all the exams, the admissions process for the university, but all of this while also studying medicine. So, I was in a very busy time when I was 18 years old doing all of this.
I can imagine, but as you know, you're doing a PhD like me. I know PhDs also can be super busy. So
Yeah.
you prepare yourself for that. So tell me a little bit more about what's your first impressions of the US when you arrived, and where there's any cultural shocks or language barriers you faced during your initial days in the US?
Yeah, from learning English in high school, and also trying to practice it in these activities that I was doing, like debate and or presentations and things like that. When you come in, you have to make that switch, right? Everything, out of a sudden they start speaking to you very fast. You go to an 8 a.m. chemistry class, and you feel like you don't understand all these technical terms, because you're used to the conversational English and you're learning slowly a little more of terms related to your career. But of course it was a big shock at the beginning, because this is a lot of information. So definitely I have to do a lot of note taking, kind of like reassessing, okay, what are the areas that I need to really focus on? What are the topics that I need to look into, more like technical terms that are important for my career? Talk to more people, so that way it just pushes me, to keep talking, keep practicing. So I did notice that at the beginning, but I was not alone. I did notice I was not the only international student going through this. I had a group of other students that were also, freshly from their hometowns, from all around the world. And I found that support with them. Like if I made a mistake, for example, said a word that was wrong, someone could come and tell me, politely, like, hey, this is how you pronounce it. So I think having that respect and also being able to help others, it's very important. I felt very welcome in that way. So that helped me a lot. And moving to Florida, also comparing to Panama, because I'm from Panama City, so I'm used to being in a city where there's just a lot of traffic and it's very congested. And then moving here to Florida, I did notice a lot of how everything is very spread out. Because different cities in Florida, you have to drive a lot to get there. So I did find myself, going on long drives to get to the town where my university is, which is Melbourne, Florida, and it's located on the East Coast. It's called the Space Coast because we see a lot of rocket launch from here because we're very close to Kennedy Space Center, Cape Canaveral. So I noticed a lot of these things, like this area is very spread out. We're very close to the beach. It's a very calm town, not as busy as the city life that I was used to in Panama. So those were some of the big contrasts there, going from a city to like a smaller town. Everything's more spread out, more calm. I do have the very close, like 10-15 minutes from the beach. So it's very nice to have that. Definitely a luxury to have that close by. So yeah, those were some of the main impressions I had as soon as I moved here.
Nice, nice. Well, when I reflect on my own journey and the path that I've taken from the field of geotechnical engineering, I can't help but to see the overreaching theme of empowerment and the concept that the power is in your hands. I think my story is a testament to the idea that we have the ability to shape our own destinies and realize our dreams through knowledge and skills we possess. I think my ability to steer my career from journalism to geotechnical engineering, totally different, right? Leveraging scholarships, international experiences, research engagement, and community outreach serves as a prime example of how can I harness my skills, opportunities, and determination to carve my path and materialize my aspirations. And I think the same is for you, right, Marifer? Your journey of earning 2 degrees and now working towards your PhD, these achievements underline the power of knowledge and dedication in propelling you towards your aspirations. Through education, hard work, advocacy, and embrace opportunities, you've been able to shape your path, contribute to your field, and make a positive impact. And Marifer, considering our journeys and the concept of the power is in our hands, could you share a moment where you felt that the direct impact of utilizing your skills and knowledge to overcome a challenge or achieve a significant milestone? How did this experience further solidify the idea that you have the power to shape your path and manifest your aspirations? That's a deep one.
Yes, that's a deep one, and I think it's something that I'm very happy to share that, coming here as a student and getting my degrees, my education, the 5-year program that I took advantage is a fast track. It's an accelerated program. You can get your undergraduate and your master's right away in 5 years, and then from there transitioning into a PhD program, but also growing as in my university, growing as a university leader and student that I was very involved. I think the highest milestone that I was able to achieve was to get sponsored by the university with my work visa. So that transition, from coming from a student, doing all of this, paperwork, all of these procedure, all of these exams to get here, and then finally accomplishing, getting to that point where I say, wow, now I am not a student anymore. I'm a worker now, and but I'm also studying, which is possible. You can do both, but now I'm in a different visa status, for example, from the one that I came in with. So that has been one of the biggest milestones that I was able to accomplish, because of how my academic career I kept growing, and I kept doing so many things, getting very involved within my university, in my academics, in my professional development, in my student involvement, my community involvement as well. So all of those really play a role in me becoming someone very valuable, at the university, at my job. And also identifying that I want to get more involved in academia. I want to work in higher education now. Also, as an engineer and educator, I want to be a faculty member, working in the academic administration as well, mentor students. So I've discovered all of these things while I've been here, and I've had the great opportunity to continue doing them thanks to the university, giving me that sponsorship and hiring me to stay here full time. with my work visa. So that's been just a great, for me, milestone in my life. So now I'm working on the next milestone. So it's my PhD. That's the next thing.
Awesome. Yes, I'm working on my PhD too. We'll get there. As with every student's journey to the US, just like mine, each individual had a different experience learning English to prepare for studying there. Where it involved like taking a class or immerse themselves in an English language material. Marifer, I'm sure you realized fairly early on that you need to take the English language test to study United States. Since English language tests, primarily the TOEFL test, are such a significant part of that transition, I'd like to take some time and learn how you navigate through that process. How did you first hear about the TOEFL test? What did you do to prepare for your English language assessment and for studying here in the US? What resources did you use to study for the test?
Yeah, so for your first question, the first time I heard about TOEFL, it was definitely in the school, in my high school, when I was preparing for getting ready to apply to universities in the United States. And then when looking at the university requirements on the website, I could see, okay, these are the type of tests they require, the scores I need to get. And then to prepare for it, I really, put myself in a situation where I was like, I need to get, very, very like focused on studying. So I need to go to a place where I don't get distracted. So I went to the public library, and my parents will drop me there in the morning and will leave me there studying. And then they will pick me up, later during the day. So that way I was just with my book and my the practice test that I had to prepare for, and I will do a lot of tests. And then I also did some online practices. So I had like a really good schedule to, go in and do all the practices. And I use both online and also paper-based resources.
Also, and talking about the TOEFL accessibility and strength and what makes it the preferred English language test for international students. With the recent enhancements to the TOEFL test, including a shorter test and a simplified registration process, how do you think these changes could benefit future international students preparing to study in the US?
I think those are, great enhancements for the test, because I do remember I had to practice trying to like replicate the time that I was going to be, taking the test, because it can be exhausting. So you can be there for, a couple hours, and then you're not able to eat, you're being recorded, it can get, for some people, they might get anxious or stressed. So I think this is definitely a benefit for a lot of people to take, and I think we're becoming more, we're accommodating, for becoming more accessible for a lot of students. So I think that's the key, because sometimes people might have certain limitations when taking the test. And I can talk about a limitation I had, that was I had to travel 8 hours away from the Panama City to take the test, because I didn't have there wasn't an available test site at my city. So I had to travel to another state. And that, became a whole thing, like planning, transportation, getting there, making sure I could take it. So all of these things are helping, because now there's simplified registration process, and you can probably find even more locations where you can take the test by having access to online resources and online testing systems. You can probably do it from more locations now than before, because before it was like only specialized. I know there's like specialized locations that can offer the test. So definitely having more options helps. And I had to kind of like accommodate myself to take it in a place that was far from my hometown, but I was still able to do it. So I'm happy to see that these enhancements are in place now.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. For me, it was the same. I had to travel to take mine as well. Were there any particular strategies or study habits that you developed while you're preparing for the TOEFL that you still find useful in your academic or professional life?
Yes, I'm a big calendar person, so I put all the things I have, my responsibilities, in a calendar. I block off time to do things. I like to go into a a more quiet place where I don't get any distractions. So that's what I was doing when I was studying for the TOEFL. I really put myself outside of any distractions. So I went to the public library where I knew I was not going to know anyone. I was going to be just working on studying. And I also had my calendar with me of my plan of what I wanted to accomplish each week. So I was going to study, for example, this week I was going to focus on the writing section. Next week was going to be the listening. And then the following week, the next section. And then I will have an exam at the end of each week to practice and make sure I was confident with the time constraints. So organizing it that way, you can do it by modules or by sections of the test really helps, and dedicating enough time to each of them, an equal amount of time to each of them was really helpful. And for now, like I said, I try to do that also at my work and with my research, and try to organize it that way, utilizing a lot of calendar tools, planning tools, note-taking. And then also finding places where you can study and really avoid all distractions as possible.
Yes, thank you, Marifer. Well, the next question is for you, for the viewers. Yes, what are your main motivations for a study abroad, and what are you looking for a specific academic program, a cultural experience, or career opportunities? We'd like to know. So as you type your answers in the comment section, please type it there. I just want to remind you that we will be having a Q&A at the end of the session, and feel free to put your whatever questions you might have in the chat, and we'll get answers those shortly, okay? So Marifer, by the day, I know you work as an instructor at Florida Tech Center for the Advanced Manufacturing and Innovative Design, CAMID. I hope I pronounced that properly. But beyond her work at CAMED, Marifer is on a mission to promote more women in STEM, making a difference in her community through her passion and dedication. Marifer, as someone who is passionate about promoting women in STEM, how do you incorporate this mission into your workshops and events at CAMED?
Well, yeah, the CAMID is an amazing center. Like you mentioned, it stands for Advanced Manufacturing and Innovative Design, and is Florida Tech's Center for Community Outreach and Workforce Development. And we also take memberships and people that want to come and work in our space and use it as if it was we call it like a gym model, where you come in, you can use equipment, you get access to coaches, you get access to workshops. And we do a lot of K through 12 outreach. So we teach from the youngest kids all the way to adults. So for me, it's become a huge role to break any barriers of people thinking that STEM is scary, or they cannot do STEM because of their age, or because, of being a woman, or because of, ethnicity. Like we don't discriminate anyone. We take everyone that wants to come and learn, and we want to make it in the most fun and inclusive way. So we do it through a lot of hands-on learning and fun activities that a kid can learn to program a robotic arm or a robot to draw something or to play something. But an adult can also come in and learn that, and they're getting valuable skills, like they're learning to program from scratch, they're learning to assemble electronics. I also taught a workshop on how to create your own jewelry by 3D printing, for example. So you're learning a lot of things, and we cater to different, for example, arts like music, or we also more in the, if you're interested in learning how to build something like crafts or things like that, we really try to cater to everyone, and for them to bring also their passions here, so we can teach them that way. And that has helped a lot in our mission to promote, and my mission also, to promote this to other girls and young generations, to become more involved in STEM, or STEAM, like we call it, because you also include arts in there. So that's a really fun way to do it. So
nice.
Yeah.
And thinking of that, what kind of impact do you hope to make in promoting women in STEM in the future?
So I definitely want to, show that there's just so many, professions and careers that you can do. It doesn't matter if you feel like you're not, good at it at first, once you have that first exposure, I think that's what it takes for a little kid or for an adult to say, okay, you know, I can do this, like this is possible. So that's why we give them that little exposure of it, like through a small game, through a small activity. You build something that you can take home with you. You program this robot, you build this earring or jewelry piece, or you come and paint something. So all of these things will help you get exposed to it at first. So I really want to make sure that people just give it a chance and have that first exposure to it, and then decide, you know, from there if they want to continue learning more about it. So I believe that I'm not able to quantify yet the impact that I've had in the people that have come to the center, but I am sure there's been, you know, some type of seed that has been planted there inside of their heads to say, oh, this was very interesting, I want to learn more about it. So that's what I want to do, you know, continue doing that in my job and at my work at the university.
Awesome. And as a woman in STEM, how did your language skills contribute to breaking barriers and gender stereotypes in your field?
So yeah, being a woman in STEM and being surrounded by an environment in a manufacturing facility and surrounded by other engineers and technicians, I definitely realized that, well, with my telling them a little bit about my background and my cultural background, I was able to connect more with these people and also be able to work with a more diverse and multidisciplinary team. Because now I'm not only working with people that don't speak the same language as me, but also people that come from a different engineering background, or they are technicians, or they come from a business background, or they come from more of a psychology or artistic background. So now I am very open to listening and getting ideas from all these people that, like I said, not only speak the same language as me, but also don't have the same background as me. So I think that just helped me have this better, you know, mindset that all of these ideas coming together can make something, you know, beautiful and something strong, which is something that you're going to see as an engineer out there in an engineering firm, or as a professional. You're going to work with multidisciplinary teams that are in different locations, different countries, and you're going to have to all work together on a project. So it's a great exposure that I was been able to have. And with my international background, it has just enhanced my experience even more.
Awesome. And can you share some advice for future students interested in pursuing both engineering and human-centered design studies, and how they can benefit from a language-focused mindset?
I think it's a great combination for me to, you know, also share for students that want to come in and learn about design, how to make it more human-centered, how to think about your user first, because your user is going to be someone that has, you know, a different background, different language, different gender. You gotta do it for a universal. You can do a universal design that fits everyone, but you can also do a personalized one that fits a person and all, you know, their characteristics and what makes them, you know, unique. So I think it is a great combination that sometimes we don't pay attention to as much when we're designing, and when engineers are working on these projects, they're very focused on the requirements and everything, but also thinking about the users, keeping that in mind and saying, I'm also a user that has, for example, a language barrier. Like, how can I make this product be more inclusive for me? And what about, you know, my family? What about the people that I work with? What about, you know, what about a young kid or a young child that is, you know, also exposed to these products? So I think there's a lot of considerations that come in place, and you have to think a lot how you can empathize with your user. And that's definitely a very interesting program to explore for those that want to learn more about human-centered design. It's going to make you really empathize and work on the user and their needs, and really talk to them and understand that. So that's a very interesting part of this degree. So I really enjoy it. I think it really ties well with, you know, what I like to do and my personality. So I think it is definitely a great fit, you know.
Awesome. Well, We're getting to the end. So Marifer, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us such a valuable insights. And do you have any final pieces of advice for students looking to make the most of their time abroad?
Yes, once you get to your university or destination where you're gonna be pursuing your studies, definitely start getting involved early on with a lot of the opportunities that you'll find at your university, and identifying those mentors and people that can help you and assist you in the process. I was very lucky to have great professors and friends and mentors in my process here that I look up to and I always went to for advice. And then also identify what are those passions that you want to not only for your job, but also that you can do for your community, and how you can have that impact in the community that you are now part of once you move abroad, and what type of impact you can have there too, because I'm sure you'll find something. And if you can also make a difference back in your home country, that's even better. If you can, while studying abroad and getting all of this experience and knowledge, give back, to your roots and to where you're from. Never forget that, because that's going to take you, very far, and it's going to make you very unique and distinctive from the rest of the people. So never forget that, where you're from.
Really nice. Thank you so much, Marifer. And at this time, we'll transition into our Q&A portion of the session. We'll try to get through as many questions as we can. I also would like to once again thank you, Marifer, for joining us, and the TOEFL team for making this session like this possible. Thank you so much. And right now, we're gonna start checking the questions. Okay, let me check. Okay, so I have the question here, Marifer. How can you score 30 in reading and listening in the first TOEFL exam? Tell us about the resources.
Oh yeah, well, definitely I think for the reading and the listening part, it is very important to do as many like practice tests that you can to make sure that you really nail it down once you go and take the exam. But look for a lot of like videos or for example like podcasts that you can listen to and then extract some information out of it, because I remember you really not only have to like listen to what it's saying, but you need to make sure you're extracting as much information. So taking some notes while you are listening in that part, that can help a lot, and make sure that you are practicing more retention. So whatever you listen, try to retain as much information as you can, because that's going to be key for when you take the exam. And reading, definitely, if you have other books that in your native language and you also read them in English, I think that's gonna help a lot, because you already know everything it said in your native language, but then now you are rereading it again in English, and you're making these great connections there. So that's another advice that I will give.
Awesome. And another question, how did you prepare for the interview? Here, interview, I'm curious if it's like the question is like a interview. How did you prepare for that?
Well, I'm assuming it was the interview for the TOEFL exam, maybe.
Yeah, that's why I got confused. If it's interview for the TOEFL, it's interview for the visa, it's interview, this interview.
Well, no matter what, always, some preparation ahead of time, like knowing, what you're going to be talking about. We have like a script, or, getting ready ahead of time, reading, asking questions about what you're going to be, saying. Or if it's for the exam, definitely looking for those resources that the website has. So the ETS website has a lot of preparatory exams and sample exams, all of that. You can also find them separately online. So definitely that's what I will do.
Okay, so I have another question here for you, Marifer. People are asking about the fast track program that you mentioned. I think people got a little bit confused about the 4+1.
Yes, so that's another way to call it 4+1, because you do 4 years as an undergraduate student for an undergraduate degree. It could be a Bachelor of Science, a Bachelor of Arts. So mine was a Bachelor's of Biomedical Engineering, so it was a 4-year program. And then I did an additional 5th year in order to finish a master's degree. But the trick is that it's called fast track because when you are in your senior year of your undergraduate, you can start taking classes towards your master's. And that's what I was doing. So as a senior student in biomedical engineering, I was already taking master level classes that will allow me and count towards the master program that I was going to do. And that way I was able to finish them in a year after that. Usually a master program is 2 years. So that's why.
Yes, that's great. I did the traditional way, like 2 years master's, but for sure, if I had the opportunity to do a master's in 1 year, why not, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and it's a great way to save some money and also to really, get your degree faster and just go through it. No breaks were taken. Just keep going.
Exactly. Okay, so we have another question here. How about the speaking and writing, since they are challenging? How to score 30 in both skills?
Yeah, this one for speaking, like I said, being in back in my hometown in Panama and maybe not having access to many people, that I can speak with. I think your best resources there are going to be your professors or those mentors that you have in the school that can help you practice and really make sure you are improving your pronunciation and all of these things. And then for the writing, I remember making essays about different topics. So looking at prompts and things that you can write about. So you can look for a random prompt generator online and you can get, different prompts of things to write about, and making sure you're checking your grammar. So now there's a lot of great resources like Grammarly that can correct your grammar very easily, or even new technologies like artificial intelligence, ChatGPT can help you improve your writing so much. I mean, I know for us, for doing a dissertation and writing, technical papers and all of that, it does help a lot to use some of those resources online for checking for misspellings and all of that. So I suggest kind of give yourself some writing prompts or essay prompts that you can practice and make sure you write about them a lot before you go take the test, because that way you already be familiarized. When you get to the test, you'll see, oh, this is a prompt I need to write 3 paragraphs about, but you had already practiced doing that. So you want to make sure you have done that practice before.
Nice. Well, I have another question here for you is, Marifer, does your university offer a graphic design course?
Graphic design, and I have not heard of that one because we are more a technical university. So we have the School of Engineering, we have aviation, we have psychology, we have medical school, we have business, but business offers some marketing options, which can have some, design involved, but not really graphic design per se. But
well, then I'm gonna intersect and talk about a little bit my university, because the students also ask about, does my university offer a graphic design course? And I'm gonna give a tip that Purdue, I don't think that they have a specific graphic design course, but we have the course that is called the interdisciplinary engineering. And I know one of my students, she is actually a design engineer. So it involves a lot of the design graphic, but with an engineering background. So she helps and support a lot of other engineers. So she's actually a design engineer and involves arts, design, graphic, but with the basic knowledge of engineering. So for the student who is looking for a graphic design, I'll keep an open-minded and check the multidisciplinary course that Purdue University offer. And you can also focus on your design, focus like my student she's doing, and she's doing design engineering. Probably many of you didn't know about it, but I think it's pretty cool that you can do design engineering, right? So I'll check on that in Purdue University. Okay, we have another question here. How many hours should we spend for TOEFL preparation for upper intermediate English level students in a day?
Okay, I can talk about, well, my preparation. I remember I was preparing, I was blocking probably like 6 hours a day, because I will go in the morning, and then work through the morning, maybe get a lunch break and do a couple more practices. So around 6 to 8 hours. I mean, 8 hours is a full load if you do it every day of a week, but I think 6 hours every day, and if you do this consistently for a month, or a little more to prepare, I think that should be plenty of time. Because I also had already some background in English. I was studying in elementary and middle and high school. So for me, I was just having to really get familiarized with how the test worked and really practice how it was going to be, taking the test and all the sections and the time constraints. So yeah, that will be my suggestion. Do you remember yours, Juliana? How long do you?
Well, it's been a long time that I studied for my TOEFL test, but I remember that I had to work. I was working full time while I was prepping for the TOEFL. So I had less time to prep. I didn't have 6 hours in a day.
Yeah.
So I was just studying in the evenings, a couple hours, and on weekends. So I took I tried to define a little bit longer time to prep for my TOEFL test. So I have a little bit more time to prep, so I could work full time while I was prepping for my TOEFL test. So my study schedule was a little bit different than yours, but it worked anyway. Okay, so we have other questions. For Marifer, GRE is mandatory for a candidate to get a full scholarship? That's a question. And did you have GRE when you get your scholarship, Marifer?
So GRE, that's for graduate school. When I got my scholarship to study here, I had to take the SAT, which was for undergraduate, going to a bachelor degree program. Then when I was transitioning, since I was doing the fast track, then you don't need to take the GRE because you were already admitted at the university for an undergraduate degree. So they automatically accept you into the master programs. But if I had transferred to another university that wasn't mine, then yes, I would have had to take the GRE. So indeed, I have a lot of friends and colleagues that had to prepare to take the GRE so they could apply or transfer to another school for grad school. So that will depend on the university. Look for those requirements on the website. But I can speak for, what I did is if you're in the same university and you have a fast track program, then you're not required to take the GRE. And for scholarships also, for a graduate student, it's very important to find those funding opportunities, like a graduate student assistantship, for example. It's very helpful because you can work doing research for a professor, and you can also get your tuition covered, and you can also get a stipend. So sometimes you get those opportunities to work in your specific department for your master's, or in a center. For example, the center where I work at the university, CAMIT, we offer graduate student assistantship. So for any students coming in as graduate students, we give them, we can cover for tuition credits, we can cover for stipend. So there's a lot of ways for you to get, scholarships and opportunities working at the university. So like I said, get very involved from the beginning and find all those resources and those mentors that can help you find them. So that way, when you're making a decision to go to grad school, you have all of the options, that you have available.
Awesome. Yes, I remember I had to take the GRE when I came here to US for my master's. So that was one of the requirements. But I do believe that once you master the TOEFL test, the GRE is kind of an extension.
Correct, yeah.
So we have another question here for Juliana and Marifer. So for myself and you, what advice do you have to other international students who want to excel academically and professionally in the US, but may struggle with their English proficiency? Do you want to start?
Yeah, I can start. I feel the first thing, you're scared of being of saying something wrong. I think that's the first thing. You're always careful, like, oh, I don't want to say something wrong. But when you realize that you know, even if you say a wrong word, and people will correct you and they will help you learn. That's the only way you can learn. Like if someone doesn't tell you, you know, that you're saying the word wrong or something, then you're not going to learn. So I know at the beginning it might be hard, but just kind of open yourself a little bit and think that it's going to be okay. Like you are learning, and people actually recognize that, and they actually want you to see you improve, especially your professors and your classmates. You notice that, you know, you're all going to be struggling a little bit at the beginning, and that's totally normal. So I think normalizing that, you know, should be a thing. Like normalizing, you know, making some of these mistakes at first, because you're switching your, you know, you're switching completely from one language to the other, and you're used to listening to everything in one language, and then you have to switch everything or translate everything. But eventually, with time, you're just going to start thinking and formulating, you know, your thoughts and everything in English. And right now I've found so many like new resources that I didn't have before. Like there's some great tools, there's like Duolingo, there's so many apps that you can find on your phone, even through like on TikTok and all the social media. There's just so many cool ways to practice the language, and to listen to music, and to listen to a show or read a book. And a lot of those things will help you get those vocabulary, you know, that you need, improve your vocabulary, and learning some of the technical terms for your career, for example, for your field of study, that can help as well. And talking to as many people as you can too, because then you'll notice a lot of different accents, because you know, depending where you are in which state, if you go to the United States, you'll start noticing those accents, you start learning new words. So exposing yourself and being open to that.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And also, I would add, for example, when I came to United States, I still had some struggles with my language skills. And I do believe that is normal. Don't be afraid. You don't have to be like, oh, I need to be 100% fluently to be able to come to United States. I probably already commit a couple mistakes here just interviewing you. And that's normal because it's not my first language. But what I did, I put my cell phone in English, I put my computer in English, everything that I could have access, I put in English. So I start to learn all the little words, you know, all the vocab that I didn't have it before.
I did that too. That's very helpful.
You did that too? Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's really useful, and especially when you come to United States. So for example, when a friend of mine would like to help me out with something that I wasn't in doubt about, homeworks or how to access the website from the university, I realized that many of my friends were having an issue to help me because my whole computer was in Portuguese.
Oh,
So I switched everything to English, and that's helped me, also my friends, to help me. So that was useful. So is an application needed for me to apply, and how to apply? Okay. An application.
Applications for the university, you do need the application. Definitely, there's a special portal that every college has. Like it's like a general portal for applying, and then you also sometimes they ask you, besides the test scores like your TOEFL, your SAT, or and they ask you for curriculum, transcripts from your high school, some reference or recommendation letters, or also proof of some of your extracurriculars, and like a statement of purpose. Yeah, so all these things are part of the application. And then most applications are online. I don't think I've seen anything that is not online now. Everything is very streamlined through an online portal where you apply. And that's where you can find all the information.
Yes, well, I came to United States for the first time for my master's degree. And it was quite a long time ago, but I remember that at least some of my documents, like my grades from my bachelor degree and the proof of my degree, right, my certificate for my bachelor degree, I have to send like an official copy in paper from my university, like a sealed document that my university had to seal and submit to my university in United States. but that
Yes.
was for my master's degree. So it was already like grad school. I
For
didn't do.
undergrad, you do need it too for your undergrad.
Okay, so you also have to submit your grades from your previous
High school.
education, your curriculum, and you have to write a letter, right? Saying why do you wanna come to this university, to this course specifically.
Yeah. I think if you ever need advice, you know, for whoever is listening, feel free to reach out and we'll be happy to, you know, review your letter or statement of purpose. And if you need ideas or, you know, help and guidance, we went through this, so we can definitely take a look at what you're preparing and help you in that process, because it definitely helps to have someone that has done it already to double check some things for you or give it a quick, you know, a quick look. So I'll be very happy if you know, if you want to reach out, I can help.
Yes, I do believe that you can find Marifer and I on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
We're both there.
Yeah.
Feel free to find us, and also to contact Study in the US. They have like a lot of resources, I think, also for studying for those exams from GRE to TOEFL.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of things online that you should look for. But right now we're getting close to our end. So first of all, thank you so much for your thoughtful questions, everybody, and for tuning in to today's session, The Power of English Proficiency, Marifer Success at the University and Beyond in the US. Marifer, your story is a testament to the power of perseverance and embracing opportunities beyond one's comfort zone. Her achievements in academia and her commitment to making a positive impact through her research are truly remarkable. Marifer, it was a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for the winner of a Study in the USA, a $50 gift card. It's a Visa gift card that will be in the comments. So keep an eye on that, and be sure to follow TOEFL and Study in the USA on social for even more resources to help you to the journey to study in the US. I hope everybody had a great time like I had. Thank you so much, Marifer. It was a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Juliana. Thank you, everyone.